the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Austin, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. Yes, we are back in the fourth year of the BMWOC. So if you are not on this platform, you definitely need to get on this platform the next go around when we come back at the end of the year in December to kick off the 5th annual BMWOC podcast. Just in case you didn't know what we're all about, the purpose of the BMWOC is to not only share industry information, but we are encouraging career seekers, working professionals, speakers, and authors to share their information and inspire others to do a lot of things in their industry. And we're also promoting unity too. We are all people of color. And so I encourage you to take a listen to all of the podcast recordings, check out all the pages, click on all the links that we have on this year. We have 57, and I said again, 57 participants this year, and there is a ton of good information that we are going to be having on this season this year. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors, and we have one of them on here today. We have My Financial Home, Evangelism Radio, JNF Enterprises, Sears Consulting, Autism Family Rocks, Awaken to Love, Ellie Natoli, Kimberly McLemore, True Synergy, and Platinum Financial Services, and all of the other BMWOC participants who is helping to make this season a huge success. So third time around, coming to the podcast is Leroy McKenzie Jr. He was back in 2016, a participant, came back as a sponsor, came back again as a sponsor, and we sure appreciate his support for helping us keep this going on. And I'm going to read a little bit of his bio, and we're going to get right into his podcast. Leroy McKenzie Jr. is the president and CEO of JNF Enterprises, which is a distribution, publishing, and business consulting firm located in Baltimore, Maryland. He is also a contributing writer for the Real Life, Real Faith, Men of Faith magazine, Entrepreneurs of Color, and His Favors magazine. Mr. McKenzie has also written 2 books of poetry, which has been featured on Heaven's 600 Poetry Cafe, a finance book that he had written. He also written The Customer is Not Always Right, a common sense guide to establishing a strong and flourishing business, and Young and Gifted, and the New Generation of Entrepreneurship, which is also a leadership book. He has performed his poetry and has spoken at churches and various other venues throughout the country. And he is just going on and on and on with many of the things that he is going to be doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Leroy McKenzie Jr. to the podcast. Leroy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing completely awesome. Thank you for having me on, and I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Well, you know what? This is your third time around, Leroy. And let me tell you something.
Right.
I appreciate the support. And when I say support, guys, this is the kind of support that Leroy does. Not only does he support by sharing your event, but he does videos to help promote your event. He's putting out your flyers, and he's also supporting you through monetary support, which we could not do this without Leroy McKenzie Jr. So thank you once again for being a corporate sponsor for the BMWOC podcast. So
Absolutely.
What is different this year with you? Tell us the skinny.
Well, this year, I'll start off with just what my focus is this year. Because each year I try to have a mantra that I go by, which kind of ties into my vision for that whole year. And this year, my focus is on chase the impact. And what I mean by that is what I'm doing as an individual and as a business is wanting to impact people in such a way that because of the connection and the experience that the individual that I may encounter or the business that I may encounter, that they are made better because of what I'm able to pour into them, whether it's information, whether it's resources, whether it's a connection. Any kind of way that I can positively impact someone's life, someone's business in that way. That's what's new for me this year, starting off this year in 2019. That's kind of like the foundation of everything that I'm trying to do this year in 2019.
Okay. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just want to put out there that you have been at I don't know, a slew of events out there, just really educating people and getting them
Mm-hmm.
in tune. And I think that for me, watching you go around to all of these different events and doing Facebook Live, and I can tell you that just for some of the ones that you have broadcasted just using your iPad or your phone, it was definitely impactful because I just felt that, those are events that, I couldn't go to because either I was working, and I'm pretty sure a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people couldn't go to those events. So, talk a little bit about some of the events that you have been to that you found to be very impactful for not just yourself, but for a lot of other folks.
Well, I think some of the events that I've gone to, and I try to have, and for those that are listening, hopefully you got a pen and paper with you. But one of the strategies that I have for being able to kind of brand yourself and to be able to grow your brand and to be able to gain exposure is to have what I call a calendar of events. And what that is you want to set out to see what events do you need to, and this, what I call the be in the room events. What are those events that you want to either be in the room some kind of way, or if you're not able to be in the room, are you able to watch it live? And that's what I tried to do this year. The events that I've gone to, just trying to do live if it's possible for me to kind of go live while I'm there, because I know that there are some people who aren't able to attend. There was one event called the All Black Baltimore event that I went to with Black Professional Men, which is an organization that I'm a part of. And that event, I specifically went live, one, because it assisted the organization to gain exposure, but it also exposed those who would tune in to my live to to what was going on at this particular event. Because there were workshops that were going on, there were panel discussions that were going on, there were a host of vendors that was there for people to be able to see the vendors that were there and everything like that. And it might have been an event, I'm quite sure, that people might not have known about had I not gone live. And that's the great thing about technology these days. It actually gives us exposure that we would not, let's say, not even 5, 10 years ago, that we wouldn't have had. But now we have the ability to be able to do that. That even if we're not at an event, hopefully somebody may be at the event that can go live, and we can still be there. They can actually stream it live, and we can actually see the event without necessarily having to be there. So that was one of the events that I went to, the All Black Baltimore event that I went to, which was a great experience. And then one of the other ones was called the Black Wall Street event, and that was an event hosted here in Baltimore by a brother named Donnie Glover. And he does this, who owns bmorenews.com, and he does this Black Wall Street. He not only does it here in Baltimore, but he's done it at several places throughout the country. And what he does is he acknowledges those small businesses that are right in the community that are doing things for the in and for the community that you aren't going to necessarily hear about. It's not going to be an everyday, ordinary thing that you hear about. But because of him, he's given exposure for those people that are doing some awesome things. And I was like, well, I'm going to be at the event, and I want to get, and my mindset is of the same vision as his is giving, highlighting those individuals or those businesses that you aren't readily going to see in mainstream media. So that was
Mm-hmm.
another event that I went to. So that's what that's about. When you see me going live, it's something
Mm-hmm.
that I think that can enlighten, empower, and impact people, which is teach you something, equip you with something, and then impact you to want to do something. So I hope that those lives do that for people.
Well, I think I know it did it for me. Have you been
Mm.
getting like a lot of feedback from folks who have viewed your live feed and have wanted additional information? I know I'm one of them, but I'm just kind of curious, like how many people have you directly impacted just by Facebook living events that are really important that people need to know about?
Well, I think, and I mean, the response has been really good. I've had some people just like you that say, "Man, I'm glad you went live with it. I didn't know anything about that." Or there were actually some folks that when we were live and were telling people to come down, they actually still were able to make it to the event. So so in that respect, it really helped out as well too. So so the response has been really good, and like I
And
said, you
okay.
know, getting having this ability, this type of technology has done nothing but move us forward in the 21st century. So
Okay. So since we brought that up, how important is business development? Because you and I both focus on business and marketing and branding and the importance of supporting other businesses. How important is getting education for your business just from a foundation standpoint to you, in your opinion?
well, I think it's very important. We should always be developing ourselves as well as developing our businesses. Because if we want our businesses to grow, it's just like you, as, from a personal standpoint. And we'll look at it in 10-year increments. You aren't the same person that you were 5 years ago. You aren't the person that you were 10 years ago. And that goes to your business as well. Your business shouldn't be the same way that it was 5 years ago. Your business shouldn't be the same way 5 years from now that it is if you're just starting your business. And you do that by developing it. Even me personally, with my business isn't the same. When I first started it, I started off with with just with just me, my the Christian based products that I had, and my two books. And now I've grown to the point where not only am I writing books myself, but I'm actually publishing other authors, aspiring authors, who are looking to write their book. Why? Because I've learned and I've gotten the information, and I've been taught some things, and now I in turn teach those things that I'm able to teach those things that I've learned to other individuals to help them to be able to develop and to be better because somebody did it with me. So I think that that's very important, that we should always be
Mhm.
developing, always be
Yeah,
learning.
all the time, all the time. And you know what? It's funny that you mentioned about the authorship because
Mm-hmm.
there are more people writing books than ever
Yeah.
before. I
Yep.
mean, there are so many
Yep.
people now really taking the time to invest in writing some sort of manuscript or some sort of book talking about something that they are passionate about. And
Mm-hmm.
you are a publisher by trade as well, in addition to being a business consultant. So let's talk about that. You know, what, in your words, what are some of the reasons and passion behind why people are now seeking to write books this day and age now?
Well, I think one of the reasons is a couple of reasons. I think the one is people see that it's an opportunity to kind of get themselves more exposure than they would if they just did what they did in business. But I think too, one of the things that's being taught now is that in order, one of the ways that you can stand out in your particular industry is by writing a book, because people give more leverage, people give more onus to someone who may have written a book on a subject than they may someone who is just in the industry and just doing the work, and as opposed to writing something on it. I don't say it's crazy, but it's just the way that people's minds work. Oh, they wrote a book about it, so they really must know what they're talking about. So I think that's another reason why people have written to the book, gone to writing books, and it's another stream of income for people. Let's be real. It creates another
Yeah.
stream of income. It creates another stream of income for people.
Right.
So I think
Hmm.
those are just a couple of reasons why, why people have
Okay.
started writing books.
Okay, so let's talk about what are some of the ways that you can offer advice to someone who's listening to your podcast right now and wants
Mhm.
to write a book. What are the three top pieces of advice that you can give them to either get started or to prevent themselves from making a mistake so they don't have to reinvent the wheel if they find out that something's wrong with their book?
One I would say is if they aren't connected to someone who has written a book, I would suggest that they do connect with someone, develop a relationship with someone, and find out about their experience with writing a book, to talk to them, to see what they did, to kind of see what it is. But then, the second thing I would suggest to them is to do their research, because the publishing industry has changed over the last 10 years. It's not where it was 10 years ago. The brick and mortar stores are closing. You know, Let me say that
That's
again.
interesting.
The
Yeah,
the
that's
the brick
interesting. You say that the brick and mortar is
the brick
closing.
and mortar stores are closing. That's your
Wow.
Barnes and Noble. That's your
Hmm.
Walden's Books. That's your Books a
Right,
Million.
right.
All these store these big franchise corporation bookstores, they're closing a lot of their doors. So you
Mm.
got to understand the shift that's going on right now in the industry.
Wow.
You
That's
know, and
powerful. That's
you know,
powerful because
yeah,
that's an evolution. That's an
uh huh,
evolution of how people are selling their books. Because,
right,
like right now, even with, me doing the podcast and talking to a lot of the authors, there's a
hmm
lot of, digital. I'm gonna make this word up. Digitalization,
uh huh,
digital, digitalization going on. That's a word that I'm going to try to make work. But everybody is doing everything digital, okay?
right,
On their
right,
Facebook, on their Twitter, on their Instagram or Snapchat or wherever they can post it.
hmm
It is now the age of ebooks. Is now the age of a lot of things, and so you look at Amazon, and so now Amazon has gotten rid of Create Space altogether, and now they're going straight to Kindle because they recognize that everybody is buying stuff that is digitally on the phone or on iPad or
hmm
some kind of mobile device, right? So then, how does that impact someone who's a publisher?
hmm
Is there still a place for publishers because people can just write anything, right? So, what is your position on that?
Well, I think that people have to be careful. Um, I think they have to be careful because there's the adage that everyone has a book inside of them. That may be true, but you have to take the time to make sure that what you have to say is being said in the right way. Um, and a lot of like you just talked about, Amazon closing the create space aspect of what they do with the publishing and everything like that. So you have to understand those small dynamics that are going on, which means you have to do you got to do your homework. So if you take the time to understand your message, and um how you can put your message out there in the right way so that it becomes something that people can it and I'll put it like this, so that it can solve a particular problem. You know, it's the answer to a particular problem, and how you can give people that answer is going to be vital to how you do it. And how to being successful at it.
Right, right. And then, that goes along with one of the things we said in our webinar, the 21st century business is about
Mm-hmm.
how to just make sure that you, as part of your research, that is to make sure that we are marketing to the right people with the
Mm-hmm.
message that we have. So whether it be a book, a product, or service, if we are sitting down and doing our research as to who is going to buy what we have, That
Mm-hmm.
same thing with the book. You can't just market a book to anybody. It has
Right.
to solve a problem, and that's one of the things. So, guys, if you haven't been on our YouTube page to check out the 21st Century How to Start and Grow Your Business, please check out our YouTube pages for that. And I'll put the link down below, because it is very important that you guys do that part, because a lot of businesses fail. Now, when you said earlier that a lot of businesses are closing, and brick and mortar is pretty much out of here as far as bookstores. It is the same thing for small businesses. If we're not, effectively marketing, and we're not using our materials such as books and flyers and brochures in a more effective way, you could definitely have your doors closed easily, by not having any clients, right? So I just think that all of that you said was just very, very powerful, and particularly for minority businesses, because it is already difficult for minority businesses to get resources. So when the resources is out there, please take advantage of it. Definitely
Right.
take advantage of the resources.
Definitely, they definitely must take advantage of the resources that are out there, because it's only going to add to your success and be able to give you a better chance of being successful for a longer period of time. You know.
Absolutely. So, if someone wanted to become a publisher today, what advice would you give someone to get started, and then maybe swing to the other end of the pendulum and say what not to do? Yeah, I was going to ask that question.
I like that though. Let's say what to do first.
What to
One of
do and then what not to do.
yeah. Well, my first thing is what you must do is you must do your research. You must do your homework so that you can gain an understanding of the industry. I can't stress enough of how important it is to understand where the industry was, where the industry is, and then where the industry is going. Those three dynamics are going to be how you're able to navigate through being a publisher. So that's the first thing I'm gonna say. That's what you must do. You gotta do the homework. You gotta do the legwork, because that's a big part of it. Second thing is as far as what you need to do is you need to do an honest assessment of your message. You know, is your message and that which you're trying to kind of convey to people, is it something that people want to hear? And is it something that people need to hear? Because you're going to have to believe in it before anybody else does. If you don't believe in it, why should anybody else? If you won't read it, why would you expect somebody else to?
Wow. Okay. And the third one,
And
you got me stumbled right there, because they don't think. I'm telling you, Leroy, that a lot of people don't believe that's true.
yeah,
It's the old saying. Before you get to the third one, the old saying,
mhm,
"I will build it, they will come," doesn't always apply.
right.
You can build stuff all day, but if you don't have the passion and the belief in what you're actually doing, and especially, I think I will probably save my last comment after yours, but I want to hear your last one before I throw this out there, because I have something I want to add.
Okay. I mean, and the third thing that I would just add to that is, is just you have to understand the process. There's a process to anything that we do. There's a process to especially when it comes to building your business. So understand the process. Find what your process is. What is your system for being able to do, creating that system that you will have to be able to be successful and do what it is that you want to do as a publisher. So
Mhm.
those would be my three things.
Wow. Okay.
Do
So
your re
I'm gonna throw
Go ahead.
mine in there before you
No,
do
go ahead.
your don't not to do.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would also like to add to that if you're going to be a publisher, that you have to ensure that the clients that you are representing also represents your business. The type of work that you critique and edit in that book has to speak quality and value the same as you would do for your own business. If you are not, picking clients that is going to elevate your business to make you look good, then it's no point in doing the work with a client that's not going to help you at the least. You can do books all day. You can say you're a publisher all day. But if you're not doing the work to really edit that book and make it look good and sound good, and I can visually see the pictures when I read the words, if you're not doing that, then, I just feel like you're doing the client and yourself injustice.
Right, absolutely.
That's just my 2 cents. Now go on and say what don't do.
What you don't do, here's the first thing. What you don't do is try to do everything yourself. Don't try to do everything yourself. You can't do it all. So don't try to do everything yourself. There are going to be things that you just absolutely that you're not going to be able to do. I know for me, just to give you an example, that I was going to need a printer, right? I needed a printer because even though I'm a publisher, I can only do certain aspects. I can do the editing, but I can't do graphic design either. So I need to have a graphic designer, somebody that I partner with, somebody that I know I can go to that does graphic design, that can do book covers, that can do flyers, that can do websites. Those things. I need to be able to have those people in my space because that's an aspect that I can't do. That's not my gift. I understand it. And that goes into my second one. Stay in your lane. Know what you can do. And
that's
what
right.
You can do.
That's right. I'm not the best proofreader in the world. But you do have to establish that team. You have to find people that can fill in the gaps where you lapse, and that's important for anybody, whether you have a business or a career. You just have to get somebody who's good at what you're lacking and then learn from that. All right.
Absolutely.
So what's number two?
So after you understand that you can't do everything, the next thing that you don't do is, I think you don't want to underestimate the amount of time that it's going to cost you to be able to build what it is that you're trying to build. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's an excellent one.
Because I think one of my mistakes when I started my business was I did not really fully comprehend what it takes to build a business, and I have the utmost respect now for those who have built Fortune 500 companies because I see the amount of work, the amount of time, the amount of effort that it takes in order for these businesses to grow and to build. It's a daily grind. I mean, every day, all day, you got to be working at it. You got to be more passionate about what you do than anything else that you do in life. And I'll give you just a quick example of one. I'm watching a video of Kobe Bryant, right? And he's doing an interview with somebody, and he was talking about the issues that him and Shaq had, back when in the 90s when they were together on the Lakers. And he said this very thing. He said he would be working his tail off in the off season, right? He had his workout, had his program. He's killing himself during the summer. And you know what Shaq was doing? Shaq was chilling.
He was chilling. I think you told me this story. I think you told me this story before.
He came, and when it came time for them to come back to, for preseason and to come back to, to start training and stuff, Shaq came in out of shape, not ready to work, or not already in shape. And Kobe's mindset was, I'm never going to let anybody outwork me. But he said that I guess amongst him and Shaq talking or whatever and stuff like that, or Shaq said, well, I don't have to work as hard because you do. And can you imagine doing the work, putting in the time, and somebody else not taking the same thing that you all doing as serious as someone else, and those that take it that serious as Kobe did. Kobe took his career serious. He was like, you will not outwork me. You will not beat me. And you have to have that same mentality with whatever you do. You got to go at it where it doesn't matter. You're not going to beat me. I watched the interview last night with Magic Johnson on Aspire, right? This is how competitive and how passionate this man is about basketball. The guy that was interviewing him, he asked him about playing his mother one-on-one, right? And would he let his mother beat him? And he said no. He was like, well, what about your mother's self-esteem? He's like, well, she had to go find her self-esteem somewhere else. He said, cause I'm a beater. This is how passionate this man is about and competitive he was about basketball. And he's the same way in business. I'm going to do what I need to do to get it done, to get the job done.
That's right. That's what you got to do sometimes. Yeah. I mean, because businesses, it all starts with the individual, right. And you got to get it to a point where you have a smooth oil machine, and then you can branch off to do other stuff. And so you definitely have to adhere to your timeline, like you said before, and just being very passionate and making sure that you are doing everything that you can to make it to the next level. That's my thing this year. Let's get to the next level, right? So what's the third one?
The third thing I'm going to say for you not to do is to underestimate yourself because this thing that this journey that we're on is on entrepreneurship. It's going to challenge you. It's going to challenge you. It's going to make you feel as if some days that you just want to give up. Some days that you're going to doubt yourself. It's going to make you doubt yourself. But what's going to make the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is the mental toughness that you will have. So you don't want to be mentally soft, if I can put it that way. You don't want to be mentally soft in this game. Because
you can't afford to. You can't afford to. It's hard.
And it's not for everybody. Business isn't for everybody. Entrepreneurship isn't for everybody, and even publishing isn't for everybody, because there's some folks that don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the mundane sitting and reading for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, editing something. They don't want to take the time to have to sit to actually write at a computer and actually write out what what needs to get done. So it becomes, you have to, what I call, you have to work at it in such a way that it becomes a part of your lifestyle. It goes from being a thought to being a habit to being your lifestyle. And what you do, because all of this becomes a part of your lifestyle, because you understand this is what I do. This is how passionate I am about it, that it's so entrenched in me that I couldn't get rid of it even if I tried to. It won't let me go.
And you know what? I can hear it in your voice, Leroy. Trust me when I tell you. I can hear it in your voice that this is something that, it has to be ingrained in your spirit. I know for me, it's not only my passion and my desire to do what I'm doing with the podcast and with small businesses, but it's also my assignment. It's my God's will assignment,
There it is.
fulfilling my purpose. And,
Yep.
a lot of times we have people saying, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to fulfill my purpose doing this one thing. But it
Hmm.
comes with a sacrifice. It does come with hard work, but that work can be fun if you make it fun, and it can be
Hmm.
hard if you make it hard.
Right.
And I think that with business education and learning all the things that you gave today will help get people off the ground and saying, hey, I understand what I need to do now. I have, 4 or 5 things that I can grasp and say, yes, I can do this. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So,
Hmm.
yes, absolutely. I really appreciate those because what you talked about was very powerful today. And I hope those that are listening are really taking notes on what you're trying to do. And what we're trying to say here in the podcast now is that you can't skip on education, and you definitely have to leverage technology. And the third thing out of this whole conversation is that you have to evolve. You have to evolve, you have to shift, you have to change, you have to reinvent yourself to be relevant as time goes on, because time is the only thing we can't control. So, definitely for sure. So, tell everybody about any kind of events that you got going on, or anything that you would like people to kind of know about, that they need to be in the room alert. You know what I'm saying? Tell everybody, what's going on with that.
Well, I mean, right now it's kind of still my quiet, quiet season. I have a couple of events that I'm going to be attending for, either supporting other friends of mine, which I think are important that we support our friends, because I know you have a couple of events that are coming up, that I'm going to be a part of. I will say this: I do have um this Facebook Live that I'm developing. I know a lot of listeners, they may be familiar with his name is Devon Franklin,
Mm.
who's just written a book called The Truth About Men, and he's been doing this tour, but he's also been doing these Instagram live, and then he's posting them on his YouTube channel, right? And he's using his celebrity friends and interviewing them, and it's cool and everything like that, because he's talking about men, and it's been some guys that I think that folks want to hear from and listen to and everything like that. So I said, you know what? I was like, he's doing a great thing of marketing, of marketing his book, getting the book out there and everything like that. I was like, you know what? I said, I know some brothers that have written books that are for men, that are pouring into men and everything like that. I said, and I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try and do the same thing, or kind of develop that as well. So I got that coming for everybody. You can look out for that. It's gonna be, it's just gonna be me and one other brother. We're gonna be talking about men's stuff. We're gonna be talking about relationships. We're gonna be talking about our books. Like my book is The Power of a Man, which focuses on our faith, our family, our finances, and the future, legacy building. They have books on relationships. They have books on making men better, and women as well. But our focus is going to be on the men, because we want to pour into men so much, because I see that Brother Devon has kind of catered towards talking about what we don't do as men. So I wanted to focus on what we do as men to make each other better. So that's kind of what's coming up in the immediate future.
Okay, well, make sure you get that information to me, and I will be
Yep.
sure to put that on your page. And um, so give everybody your website, your email, and how they can contact you.
Sure, they can connect with us at www.jnfenterprises.com. That's the website. They can email us at jnfenterprises@yahoo.com. They can check us out on social media. They can go to our YouTube channel, JNF Enterprises. You put that in, and you'll be able to see all of our tutorials or videos that we have uploaded there. You can go to our Facebook. We have a Facebook page, JNF Enterprises, or you can pull up my name, Leroy McKenzie Jr., as well as Instagram at JNF Enterprises, and then our Twitter as well is at JNF Enterprises 1. So you can check us out on all of those platforms.
Okay, and of course, I'm always going to ask this question: what does JNF Enterprise need to thrive?
what I need to thrive is a consistent passion for impacting people. That's what's going to keep me thriving. And if
Right.
I feed my passion, if I can
Mm-hmm.
continue to feed my passion and love what I do,
Mm-hmm.
then JNF will thrive. I think on another note, referrals always help to be able to help me thrive. People talking about the experience that they've had with us. If they can
Okay.
talk about that, that would be great. That would really assist us in thriving.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the last thing is, in order to thrive, is just making sure that I do things in decency and order, because that's what I want to
Right.
do. You know.
Nice. Okay, well, you know what, folks? There you go. There's so much information in this interview. I hope that you have written down some really good notes. If you haven't, please replay and share and like this interview. We have our corporate sponsor here coming back 3 times, giving us more information about how we can elevate and move to the next level, and also on his daily grind to make sure that you are passionate about your business. And whether or not you decide that you want to write a book or whether you want to become a publisher, you definitely have to have some work behind it. And so I invite you to reach out to Leroy McKenzie Jr. if you have any questions, if you need any help with any of that, or if you can't reach him, reach out to me. I know how to contact him. I got the direct link. So just go ahead on and just like this thing. And also, don't forget to vote, okay? Don't forget to vote. This year, we're also going to be doing again the BMWC Awards. So if you like this interview and want to hear more of this type of stuff, hit the like. Also, share his podcast interview so that he can get likes and compete for one of the 7 BMWC Awards. And also, I want to remind people to check out all of the links, check out all of the pages. Just check it out. Just share it all, because it's there for you for 8 weeks to go over and just listen to the amazing stories from all 57 participants. And you know what? Don't forget, we also have some child entrepreneurs on this season. We have a young lady and we have a young man, both who have written books. So definitely check that out. And so again, Leroy, thank you so much for being a corporate sponsor to support the BMWC, and I sure appreciate you.
Thank you, Anne, for having me, and I appreciate you for allowing me to be able to to be on your show and to be able to come and talk to the people. So thank you as well.
No problem.